Have you ever wondered how much money the Wattersons really have? One minute, they've got millions of dollars in the palm of their hands, and the next, they lose everything. And the world even falls apart, all because of the Wattersons being completely broke. Well, today, we're gonna find out the Wattersons' net worth. That means looking at their income, whatever savings they might have, anything valuable they own, and of course, any debt they've racked up over the years. First, we have to look at how much money is coming in every year. And to do that, we have to look at the only one who actually has a job, Nicole. And according to the episode The Parents, she says that she is paid in literal peanuts. And no, she's not lying.
That's not a figure of speech, by the way. Then why are we even here?
However, in the episode The Treasure, we get a clear picture of just how little she's actually paid and why they're so broke. Well, the kids are messing around with Richard. Nicole arrives with groceries. Except those groceries are completely different from what they usually get because of an accidental mix-up. And when they ask why they can't get those types of groceries every time, Nicole disappears. That's when they realize that a lot of the things they have aren't even the real thing. From a cheap film to a fan that they use as a blender, they think it's very fishy and start looking for clues. And I don't blame them. After getting a clue from a phone call warning, in the attic, they find multiple bank account statements from the Rainbow Factory. And it turns out that she's paid $950. If we add it all up, that's just $11,400 a year. That's just 14% of what an average family makes. But it gets worse. In the bank statement, we also see $24,000 went to a company called Stellar Corp.
It was the beginning of the internet.
Click now for an out-of-this-world property investment for the future of your kids. Yes!
I tried to get the money back, but the company had already gone bust.
But while it doesn't really seem good for the Wattersons, they must have some stuff that has some sort of value, right? Well, we do have a few things that might actually save the Wattersons. Like in the episode The Helmet, Gumball finds himself bored with life after wearing a tinfoil lucky helmet for a week, which makes everything go his way. And he hates how life has become so easy. With this power, Nicole and Richard could have just maybe turned their lives around. But instead of working together, they fought over the helmet. Nicole had a great plan, using it to get a better job and possibly help the family. Richard, on the other hand, used it to win a game show and walk away with a speedboat.
And he's won the speedboat!
But how about their cars? Well, the Wattersons have two cars. Their daily being the car tax, which mostly resembles a 1979 Ford Fairmont Squire, and the other is a minivan, which looks like a 1986 Grand Caravan LE. But we haven't even touched the most expensive thing they own, their house. You'd think the Wattersons wouldn't actually own the house, probably just renting it or maybe still making mortgage payments. Well, we don't exactly know. Sometimes you'll see their stuff in their house get repossessed, or other times you'll see them renting out the house to others. In the episode The Heart, we do see a sign that says the house was sold, which could mean a bunch of things. But for this, let's say they did buy it. Since the housing market was way cheaper back then, like I wish it was now, let's assume they were able to buy it. Well, if that's the case, based on similar homes in its real-life location of Vallejo, California, and a few other factors, we're looking at an estimated value around $350,000. If you add stuff around the house, you might even have some other value. So we could see the house's net value at around $410,000. And unfortunately for them, while their assets may be worth something, we haven't even touched their biggest threat yet, their debt. And why not start with a big hit? From the episode, the finale. It starts with the Wattersons happily flipping through their family album of previous episodes when Hector's mom, Miss Yoda Thumb, suddenly shows up demanding they pay their half of the construction work, which is a total of $800,000 in damages that they've done to Elmore. However, I don't know about you, but we're talking 75% of Elmore being completely destroyed. And the last time I checked, a city, even a small one, isn't even close to being valued at $800,000, which is the same thing I said in our video, How Much Does Gumball Cost Elmore, where I said the damages realistically could be around $300 million. Except that's not even adding up what happens next. In an effort to pay the $800,000, which we already said is impossible for the cost to be that low, Gumball, Darwin, and Richard somehow run off to make $800,000 while also doing all the schoolwork they haven't done at once. Because I forgot to mention, Gumball and Darwin have to restart school all the way from kindergarten, as all they do is just goof off and cause a bunch of problems. But they get put in jail, and eventually Nicole and Anais join them as well. But after some motivating words from Gumball,
I said no! It doesn't end like this! Not on my watch! They say we've gone too far, but I say we haven't gone far enough!
and a simple escape from prison, they do what they do best, making things worse. Everyone is playing a part in the chaos in Elmore. Gumball and Darwin are causing havoc at school, Richard and Anais unleash Kenneth, and Nicole gets Hector angry. All of Elmore is after the Wattersons, only for a magical reset to save them from getting shredded into pieces.
They blew up my head! They ran me over!
What do we do now? The only thing that can save us is reality being completely reset by some kind of magic device!
And since they pretty much created another situation where all of Elmore is affected by their chaos, let's just add another $300 million to their debt. And we've still got a few more examples of the Wattersons just continuously adding to that debt. In the episode The Nuisance, the Wattersons get summoned to the town hall, where the mayor offers them a free house in Ohio. Sounds generous, right? Until you realize that the entirety of Elmore wants the Wattersons gone. And for a good reason. It turns out the whole family's tied to everything, from nudity, vandalism, and even parking violations, the worst crime of them all. It makes sense why all of Elmore wants them out of there. In an effort to prove themselves, the Wattersons commit to showing all of Elmore them being model perfect citizens. And you know, somehow it works, as the media portrays them in a surprisingly positive light for the first time in probably years. Then they morph into realistic versions of themselves, which is already really weird. But then, to make it even worse, the mayor calls, where he reveals he just wants to sell Elmore and screw over everyone. So in a last-ditch effort, they begin destroying everything, which is the perfect time for a montage.
This is for you, Elmore.
The damage in this episode totals around $55 million. And when you add that to the Wattersons' already massive debt, that's a lot of money. But the debt just keeps adding up. Just like the viewers who keep watching my videos keep adding up without being subscribed. Yeah, I'm talking to you. You better click that subscribe button. But anyways, let's talk about the episode The Disaster, where the Wattersons are on a trip to the mall, singing together as they drive. But of course, they are not going alone, as Rob is there with a remote that can control reality itself, being able to control the entire show all with the simple click of a button. Darwin. And of course, he uses that new power to destroy the one person, or more like Cat here, he hates the most, Gumball. From his family to his relationship with Penny, Rob has finally done what he's been waiting for, and that is destroying Gumball's life. But in the end, Gumball is able to rewind everything and go back to where it all started. While everything is technically fixed by itself in the end, I'm still counting all the damages, because just like we've seen before, nothing magically resets when an episode ends. So what's the total damage? Well, the Wattersons could easily find themselves with a measly $125 million in damages. Between getting their car wrecked, chaos at the mall, and Rob literally breaking reality with a universal remote, there is no way everything just magically resets. Not to mention Gumball being launched into the void while time is paused and reality is crumbling. I feel like opening the void alone is at least $100 million. And you might be thinking, how is any of this the Wattersons' fault? Well, technically it's Rob's fault, and he's the whole reason why this ever happened. However, it wouldn't have started if Gumball and Darwin never gave the title of villain to Rob in the first place, which eventually led to this moment right here. But now, how about an example from season 7? Like the episode The Traffic. In this episode, the Wattersons learn that the Daisyland amusement park will shut down the next day due to a lawsuit, but despite that, Nicole insists that they must go, reminding the boys why they couldn't go last time.
Because this is why we never went. I'm sorry, honey. We'll have to go another time.
Okay, we might have been hogging your attention a little.
And of course, the trip had to go the complete opposite of good, with the car malfunctioning because Richard was responsible for fixing the car, Darwin scared of a creepy mascot named Baby Billy, and Gumball accidentally insults Penny, leaving him in this state.
Look what you made me send Penny!
But Nicole gets the car running again, ties Darwin down, and fixes Gumball's incident. So with everything fixed, Nicole floors it, but eventually cops stop her. But all it takes is for Anais to forgive her family. And just like that, all of them lock in. And after a car ride through the sewer, they make it to Daisyland. Despite the wholesomeness and pure family love in this episode, they were still able to rack up over $20 million in damages. $35,000 when their car broke down and all their belongings were repossessed, $750,000 by crashing into other cars on the highway, police cleanup and traffic control cost another $75,000, repairing the flooded bridge and sewer, cleaning out the drain for their drive, and for Daisyland, for 1 minute Daisyland was fine, but as soon as they came in for the picture, Daisyland was already in flames and was completely destroyed. So yeah, just add another 20 million. However, it could be that this wasn't the Wattersons' fault, since Daisyland was gonna shut down anyway. So they probably were going to destroy it with a big boom. But something I learned from making these videos is that wherever the Wattersons go, trouble follows. Now, for the last episode, let's talk about the craziest thing they've done. A number so high that the Wattersons' great grandchildren are going to be paying for it. I'm talking about the episode The Money. The Wattersons are all out at Joyful Burger, but when it comes time to pay, Larry swipes their card, all for it just to decline. And of course, they immediately blame Richard, who tries to explain that they moved their money into an offshore bank account for safekeeping.
I put it offshore.
But before he threw it into the sea, he converted the money to gold. With the Wattersons realizing they're completely cooked, they start drinking their own tears. That's how bad it is. This is until Larry offers them a quick fix, starring in a Joyful Burger commercial, claiming that they're perfect for it. But Gumball refuses to sell out, insisting they'll survive with pride, even if it means poverty. But that night, with no food or power, the Wattersons lose everything as their belongings get repossessed. Despite that, Gumball tries to stay positive, but the family blames him for refusing a quick money fix. With nothing left, Gumball tries to lift spirits by singing about the power of imagination and their pride. But he immediately switches up when the animation starts to mess up, with the whole world as they know it getting affected. From the houses to the characters, this obviously isn't gonna be cheap. And while they do sign the papers and everything goes back to normal in the end, if the financial status of the Wattersons mean the whole world getting affected, let's just say they're in a massive amount of debt. This means that the world is pretty much just screwed. So we'll just add like $1 quadrillion, and that's me being generous, since the Earth, according to Google, is worth around $5 quadrillion. But luckily for the Wattersons, they might actually have a savior, that being Larry. Yeah, the guy who has who knows how many jobs, but how is he the savior? Well, a lot of these damages happen throughout Elmore, and that's why their debt is so high.
Every time you guys mess something up, I have to pay for it out of my own wages. Why else do you think I have so many jobs?
Never thought about that before.
So if that's the case, that means almost all the debt really goes to Larry, leaving only $450,000 for the Wattersons to pay, since that is the only episode here where their house is being completely destroyed, and not the responsibility of Larry. Though at the same time, it doesn't really make sense for Larry to really be responsible and pay for all their damages. But what do you think? Is it really fair that almost all the money has to come out of Larry's pockets? You let me know down in the comments below. And since you're already scrolling down, you might as well lock in and hit that subscribe button. Come on, you know you want to click it.